This has some incredible surprises, and it's just so much fun to play. I would like to start by playing the simplest possible thing I can on the default sound that comes out the moment you turn it on. In other words, the first sound that comes up when you take it out of the box. I will use the pedal once. I'm only going to play it for a few seconds, and I'm going to hold notes as long as I possibly can so you can listen to how the sound evolves all by itself. So, let's see. You can imagine opening credits of some movie or TV show. I'm doing nothing at all. This is insane, this thing. 1981, we released the Jupiter 8. This actually was the first product that I demonstrated around Australia as a tour for Roland. It sounded like this. It was unbelievable for keyboard players. By the way, when I say it sounded like this, I don't mean a little bit like this. It sounded like this. This is a supernatural, and you'll hear a lot about supernatural as I go along, supernatural version of the original Jupiter 8. And it's the closest thing I have heard to the original Jupiter 8. The moment you said, no, I'm a keyboard player, you were trapped because you were supposed to play the strings, the brass, the horns, the flutes, anything you can possibly do, which is what this keyboard was designed to do, as close as possible with current technology. So we could play string lines and almost get away with it. But beautiful, beautiful sound. I have to ask though, why would you play this sound when you could be doing this? Simple thing, really. A much, much improved synthesizer. So yes, it's a synthesizer. I'm just scratching the surface. This is barely the tip of the iceberg, but yes, it's a synthesizer. One that can go from Herbie Hancock in the 70s through the heyday of the hairy guys of the 80s with the synthesizer bands of those times, through Michael Jackson, through Daft Punk, up to Lady Gaga. It can play all of those easily. So yes, it's a synthesizer. But it's a lot more than that. All these synthesizer purists come up and say, oh, that was great, that was just like the original. No. That's the original. That's a lot more interesting. And that's what's happened, really. We are not living in my 1980s and 81. Our ears have moved on. Technology has moved on. We expect more than that. Why would we want to then go out and make that thing again? For example, when Eric Persing and I made sounds for the D50, we started with that. Or something like that. We didn't even make that one. I didn't make that one. Somebody's just copied what we did back in 80, whatever. We are insanely proud of this piano for a lot of reasons. Let's have a look at a standard sample piano. This is absolutely true for most pianos, and majority of electronic pianos on the market. They share samples. The red sample is played over 5 notes, and the yellow sample over the next 4 notes, and so on. They share the samples. The Roland pianos, supernatural pianos, have a different sample for every single note. Makes for a much more realistic piano sensation. But this is the exciting part. Standard sample pianos, like I just mentioned in product X, are made up of soft, medium, mezzo forte, and so on sounds. Yes, they get a little bit louder, but they switch as you go up. Can you play the example for me? This is in real time. Listen, please. you can hear it change. Just imagine if you're playing piano and you're playing a nice even scale around about this volume. You just feel like, oh God, which one am I going to get? The loud one or the medium one? And it's surprising how annoying that is. All piano players have got used to it now. We seem to. Until you get on one of these things and suddenly you realize it doesn't exist. This is what the supernatural piano does, and it's better to listen to it again. So you find you have absolute security, because when you play the notes, you're not going to suddenly jump out loud, soft, because it's going to another sample, this way or this way. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to play. Something else that's really, really important, please, that is what happens with the decay of a sound. Traditional sample pianos give you about 2 seconds of real sample and then loop and loop and loop. And as long as it's quiet enough, you probably won't notice. And if you're playing a chord, you may not notice at all because they're all looping across each other. But with let's have a look at that actually. This is a piano tone. Look at the rhythm. Because you're listening to the same thing over and over. You can physically see it. But supernatural doesn't work that way. Thanks to the stuff we learnt when we made a piano called a V piano. This is a supernatural piano, and this is what it looks and sounds like. Never the same, because it's gradually decaying in a proper manner. The strings are dying away. So no matter what you play, even down to classics like and again, beautiful, natural, everlasting decay. I don't believe I said that, but that is supernatural. And that's, like I said, the clearest example of what supernatural can do. Why did we make the Jupiter 80? And the fact is, it's based on what has happened over the past few years. 1989, we released a product called the W30. In my opinion, it's the first keyboard musical workstation, true workstation. The W30, however, was the first time we had a keyboard that had a synthesizer, a sequencer, and a sampler all in the one product. We decided, let's get back to what a keyboard was. A keyboard was the best possible technology, the best collection of sounds, and the easiest thing to use on stage. Like I said, if you wanted piano, you press the piano button, there it is. Maybe it's a ballad, or it'll be nice with piano and strings, press strings, there it is. I didn't have to go searching for a patch. I made it real time while I'm playing. If I don't like the balance, got sliders. And so on. Direct access. It's a simple and beautiful thing. But let's go even one step further, and this is where I really start to like the fact. Okay, so I chose my piano. Actually, for me, that piano was a bit middly for my style and the songs that I tend to write. I want to find another one. What do? I press the category button. No, I don't press the category button. I press the piano button again, and a list comes up. Thank you, Liam. Telling me a whole range of pianos. The bottom one I like, so I touch it. Touch screen, color touch screen. Select. This is more like me. Okay, so now I've customized my Jupiter 80. But then I notice over here it's got an alternate button. I press the alternate button, and now it says acoustic ground and electric ground. That's interesting. Maybe for some rock stuff I'd use that, but what are the choices? Press the piano button again. Oh, I like the look at that mystic. So now my piano has two choices, my choices. This one and that one. Let's move on. I would like to show you some more of the supernatural sounds. And I say, speaking of simple ideas, because I'm going to reduce them to make them obvious. And then later on, I hope to point out that that's just, again, the tip of the iceberg. Let's start with something simple like bass, maybe acoustic bass like this. Nice, nice. It's supernatural. There's no velocity switching, but a lot more. When I play, it's listening to me. It's figuring out when I'm releasing strings and moving to another one. And I don't just mean when I let go. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's say I was to play two notes, D and E. Sounds terrible, but possible. Let's say I play the D, then the E. Both together, though. It hammered on because I played it. I didn't think about it. What if I were to hammer on and then release? Ah, right, so I've got a finger pull as well. Staccato, harmonics, and so on, all from this sound. Beautiful, beautiful sound. What's the alternate? I've got to get a bit fast on you. What's the alternate? Oh, synth bass, okay, fine. And yes, it sounds like a warm analog synthesizer. It's a supernatural version, but there it is. Maybe I don't want that though. Maybe I would rather have, let's see, electric bass. Yeah. Same hammer-ons and pull-offs and so on. Another interesting thing though, again we've got slaps and we've got harmonics. Brass is interesting because this begins to show you some of the supernatural possibilities. The alternate was that sax section. This is where it's interesting. Remember we showed you the image of the piano soft to loud, and it was perfectly even. The same thing applies with a sustained instrument, soft to loud, like saxophones. If I do this, you can hear all the saxophones play. I'll turn them down a little bit. You can hear all the saxophones playing, nice and bright. You can hear the breath and so on. They're just playing softly. If I press the modulation lever, you will hear them get louder. You will hear the tone change smoothly from soft to loud. This is not going from sample to sample to sample. This is supernatural, soft to loud, to the point where the horns start to bark because they're being played too loudly. Sax section. Real-time dynamic playing. A simple thing, but that is insane. Nobody has anything like that, where you can take an acoustic sound and swell it. I've been putting aside one of the favorite things, synthesizers. So we've got like synth brass, for example. Let's just point out what's going on here. This is very, very important. On the screen you can see actually 4 sections. The orange section is called lower. Turn it off. Green section, upper. Then there's the blue solo section and the grey percussion section. I would like to point out things like percussion is just a hint. Remember when I made the clavinet sound turn into a superstore because I can remember where it was? This could be percussion. 9 times out of 10 is percussion. Doesn't have to be. It could just be another synth or another supernatural sound. You can do all 4 things at the same time. Depends on how you want to think about it. Let's go back to what I had. Synth brass. So I'm just looking at one of the 4 parts now. It's called a live set. It's the lower live set. If I edit it, you will see that it's made up of 4 other parts. Let's turn some of them off. like this. It's made up of that one, this one, and this one. Interesting. Let's go back to the first one there, and I'll edit it. Standard things you would see on a synthesizer, filter, pitch, amplifier, controls. Nowhere near as much fun as pressing the synth edit key, where it comes up looking like the Jupiter 8. All the way down to these yellow and orange knobs up the top left here, a direct rip-off, look exactly the same. Just going to have a look at the Ganymede patch, live set, because there is a function called, and I'm not sure, so can you see that? Yeah, tone blender down here. And this screen opens up. And you can see that this is one live set. A live set is made up of 4 tones. Every tone has a level, a pan, a cutoff, a resonance, attack, decay, release, 4 effects controls, and reverb. And down the bottom here, you can preset an offset for every one of those in any direction you like. So, for example, if I play it and just move the pedal, you just watch what happens down the... Actually, pan back a little bit, yeah, so... I've got massive control over every tone in any direction. And if you're not really satisfied with that, you can press the shuffle button, and it makes up another version. And you can keep doing that until you find something you really like and save it. So it's like automatic programming, basically. Just insane. Let me go back to then that patch I wanted to play to finish with, because I found this magnificent thing. I didn't make this patch, sadly, but nice and pretty down the bottom. That's the Sin Choir Dreamer. Up the top, Tranquil Brass. Again, that top part is made up of 2 sounds, the Tranquil Brass blast and the flugelhorn. Now, I wanted to concentrate a little bit more on the flugelhorn, so I'll bring the brass down a bit. And when I first played this sound, I really didn't think I'd be inspired to play anything sort of jazz. But the moment I put the 2 together and found that I had so much expression with the supernatural sound combined with the synthesizer, I just couldn't stop. It's just a hell of a lot of fun. If you get the time to stay around and have a play, please do. Thank you.